Hello everyone and welcome to BriscoeGames. I know it's been a little while since I made another video and uploaded it, but I promise to get back into doing things consistently. Like I said, work has been crazy and right now I'm currently under quarantine because a coworker of mine had came back positive with a case of COVID, and this was someone I was working in close contact with, so yeah, right now I'm under quarantine for 2 weeks, which also means, unfortunately, I probably will not be able to do the planned reality video game show that I wanted to do at the end of this month because technically I'll still be in that window. So, unfortunately, the one I was going to do this month, I'm just going to move it to March because I have something already planned for February and I already have that all booked out and ready to go. So it is what it is, but this is just pretty much an update on where I've been, what's going on, and what we're going to be doing going forward. So I'm going to have a lot more content, as I said, coming up, and you're probably going to see that because I'm going to start putting out several videos over the next few days, and hopefully you like the new content, and hopefully you stick around and bring more people in as well too. Without further ado, let's get started. So, wrapping up CES, there was a lot of news, but unfortunately not a lot of gaming news. So, the highlight of the show for me, in my opinion, would be the announcement of the RTX 3060 GPU coming from NVIDIA late February, which is a bit later than I was actually anticipating. And just the announcement that the RX 6700 series of GPUs from AMD will also be coming, which is possibly even later, probably looking at March, if not April, for those GPUs. So the gaming news was disappointing, but we did get specs and some charts on what the 3060 is like. And starting off with the pros, it's launching at $329 or $330, whichever one you prefer. It has 12 gigabytes GDDR6 memory, which is a huge benefit for the longevity of that card and that GPU. Unfortunately, a lot of the GPUs NVIDIA has released has been 10 gigs for the 3080, so this has more overall memory. It's slower, but still more overall. 8 gigs for the 3070 and 8 gigs for the 3060 Ti. So this is the largest pool of memory in the RTX 3000 series of GPUs that NVIDIA has released so far, outside of the RTX 3090, which has 24 gigs of GDDR6X memory, and is also a $1,500 GPU if you can find it at MSRP, which currently isn't happening on any of these GPUs for real, with the price increase going across the board. So we'll talk about that later in another video. But for the 3060 overall, it looks like a decent card. It's not quite what I expected the card to be. It's a little bit lower in performance than what I expected, but for the price and the boosts that you're getting in ray tracing, things like that, it's definitely looking like a good new level card for most people looking at upgrading from their 1000 series, their 1000 series, like their GTX 1060 and GPUs in that range. It looks like a decent upgrade for those people, but for anyone that has anything like a 1080 or 1080 Ti, or you're looking at one of the RTX 2000 series GPUs, this definitely isn't the upgrade for you. So if you have any of that, you'd probably be better off looking at something like a 3060 Ti, or possibly even just holding on to what you have currently and waiting for the 4000 series, or just seeing what AMD has later on as well. So the cons for the GPU is that it's basically a RTX 2060 Super or base model RTX 2070 with a little boost in ray tracing performance. So honestly, just off top, I thought this GPU would be closer to the RTX 2070 Super or the base 2080, kind of like how all the other GPUs have been stair-stepping down. Like the 3070 is basically a 2080 Ti, the 3060 Ti is basically a 2080 Super, although they have better ray tracing performance, so they have those benefits there. So I just naturally expected this to be like, okay, this will be like a 2070 Super, at worst maybe a 2080 at best, but it's definitely not there. It's another step down from the 2070 Super, possibly 2 steps down if it's closer to the 2060 Super. We'll just have to see some actual benchmarks and real life performance, because of the charts that they put up. For some reason, they decided it would be brilliant or genius to compare it to a GTX 1060 and a RTX 2060, when, like I said, every other GPU, they compared it to a top tier GPU. So like, again, the 3070 was compared to a 2080 Ti. The 3060 Ti was compared to a 2080 Super, and showed that it one of those comparisons depending on the game. Most of the time, well, the 3060 Ti has won pretty much consistently against the 2080 Super, where the 2080 Ti and 3070, they trade blows every once in a while. But yeah, for the 3060 base model, for some reason they decided to only compare it to a 2060, and it wins in every comparison, and it's a pretty decent gap. It's not anything huge, it's like a noticeable increase in frame rate, usually about like 10%, sometimes as high as about 20% more frames per second, depending on the workload or what they're doing exactly. And like I said, that puts it closer to, in raw rasterization, a 2060 Super, which isn't, like I said, the biggest leap, but it's still an improvement overall, because you're looking at a $330 price tag for this with better ray tracing performance, and that's a decent drop from what the 2060 Super was going for new. It was going for 400 new, and it's kind of up there a little bit higher in some cases right now with inflation. So overall, it's gonna be a solid value when it comes out. It's just not quite the performance I expected it to be at. But that does bring up the question of what are they gonna do with other GPUs. We're obviously gonna have an RTX 3050 Ti and maybe a RTX 3050, and possibly even a, I guess, 3030, which I completely doubt that'll happen. Maybe a 1630 if they want to do something weird and like spin off Ampere version of the 1650 and call that the 1630. They can do that. But just looking at the 3050 Ti and where the 3060 is currently, I'd assume that the 3050 Ti would basically be a replacement for the base model RTX 2060 with 6 gigs of GDDR6 for the memory, and probably launch around $200 to $250, maybe closer to like $230, I would probably say, trying to keep that balance there. And for the base model RTX 3050, I'd assume that it's probably going to be around a GTX 1660 to 1660 Ti in performance, with ray tracing added into that, because again, the ray tracing from Ampere is a step up above what Turing had. So even though it's a weaker GPU, it will still be able to have those better ray tracing cores to do ray tracing a bit better, possibly than what a RTX 2060 base model would have been able to do. So I think it'll trade kind of blows with that GPU, not quite as much in raw rasterization, but in ray tracing workloads, it'll probably trade blows around there. And yeah, overall, those would be two solid GPUs. I feel like that one would probably be priced around maybe $199, and obviously that means the bottom end for GPUs is going to go up, like from previously being around $100 for like a RX 560 or GT 1030, which both again are increasing prices like everything else has, because they used to be $70 and $80 GPUs, but that's neither here nor there. Again, this looks like it's gonna double potentially in price for what is basically the low range for new GPUs, but at the same time, it's looking like it's gonna be a 2 to 3 time performance increase as well too. So there's a big jump there. When you add on ray tracing, if you use that, that's another jump, and then if you add on DLSS, that's an even larger performance jump. So it's bringing us up to about what, 2.5 to 4 times the performance increase. So that can be a huge benefit to people looking at finally upgrading their GPUs because of games that have ray tracing or games that use DLSS on top of the raw rasterization performance increase. So overall, that should pretty much be the end of the RTX 3000 series family. By spring, we should hopefully have the 3050 cards out, and we should also hopefully have a consistent amount of stock so we can get this scalping and prices down to a consistent level. And by summer, we'll probably see the RTX 3000 Super card, so you'll probably see a 3080 Super, which is basically the RTX 3090 rebranded with either 16 or 20 gigs of a GDDR6X VRAM. A 3070 Super, which will probably be a rebranded RTX 3080 with maybe 12 gigs of regular GDDR6, so that way it keeps the price around the same, or if not lower than what the 3080 has, and possibly even as low as what the current 3070 is. And possibly a 3060 Super as well, which would probably be between what the current base 3060 is going to be at, as well as a 3060 Ti, putting it at that range of the RTX 2070 Super or the RTX 2080 that I expected the base 3060 to be at, but also giving it that same 12 gigabyte pool of VRAM, making it, you know what, kind of like the current 1660 versus the 1660 Super versus the 1660 Ti, where those GPUs can kind of like trade blows, the 1660 Super and 1660 Ti, and that's probably going to be similar in some cases to the 3060 Super and the 3060 Ti as well. So that's pretty much it for this video. Again, we have AMD releasing their RX 6700 series, possibly their 6600 series and 6500 series later on as well, maybe late spring, early summer. So there's a lot to look forward to on the GPU side of things. Hopefully, like I said again, prices will start to settle down and get back to an area where we can actually walk into the store and buy them at MSRP instead of being anywhere from $50 to $100 more than what they should be. And hopefully everyone can just, you know, get the GPU they want, and the used market will hopefully settle down as well too, so people can pick up older GPUs for a much better price than what they're going for as well, and hopefully things will just get back to normal. But in the meantime, that's it for now. If you're looking forward to the RTX 4000 series or the RX 7000 series, let me know in the comments below. And personally, I'm looking forward to those GPUs even more so than the current series of GPUs, because one, they're going to 5 nanometers, which means we're going to get more GPU cores, which means we're going to have more performance. Obviously, both companies are going to be pushing for better ray tracing performance, so we'll see that in more games whether you care or not. And both companies should be working on their AI scaling solutions, so we might see even better performance for DLSS or for AMD's, what is it called, super resolution, I believe. So I'm looking forward to those, and hopefully you are too, and we'll talk about those as well as the new upcoming RX 6700 series GPUs once they get more information. But for right now, that's it. Peace as always. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe below, letting me know what GPUs you have or what you're looking forward to trying to buy. And yeah, that's it. See you later.